You may have noticed there's been a bit of a gap between episodes. The old COVID-19 pandemic has thrown a bit of a wrench in my plans here to do meetups and arranging for more shows with some of the island's characters. Social distancing and isolation. It's been a huge adjustment, of course, for everyone, no matter where you live. And here on Gabriola, where the social norm for greeting people is hugging, and, some kissing is usually thrown in there for good measure, well, islanders are feeling it. But that said, if you could describe the perfect place to be in isolation, Gabriola Island, or any island really, would be the place. Of course, historically, islands were always used to separate and quarantine people for various reasons, mostly against their will. But here on Gabe, the universal comment when you wave and pass people on their beach walks or from a safe distance at the market or the liquor store's been busy, people usually say things like, "Man, there is no better place in the world I would want to be in a global pandemic than here on this island." We have a rock-solid system of social supports, the island time culture, a fantastically dedicated health and wellness community, excellent local food growers, plenty of places to walk on the beaches and the forest trails, and plenty of time and space to think. To take stock of things, perhaps, more deeply than ever before. I'm sitting here on a yellow cedar log looking out across the tidal flow over to Mudge Island right now while I'm taping this, and I'm taking stock. My dad died on April 4th, and I got to be with him for his last few days, and to say my goodbyes, and play some of his favorite music on his earbuds, and to see this character, this lovingly flawed person, aren't we all, to see him close the book on his life. And with the tears and the ache of loss, I felt what a deep honor it was to be there. Just like it was to see my kids born and the start of their book of life. It's so important to be there for the closing of the book of my dad. And you look across the world right now, and the pandemic has really drawn a sharp line of awareness about the precious and fleeting existence of us all, and to see the death up front in the news every day of people's lives being shattered. That we can be so lucky and also so vulnerable, and how we can embrace that feeling of vulnerability. And I hope how we can all learn from this. And for taking stock and for learning about how this pandemic could be the catalyst for new insights and for change, well, Gabriola has no greater resource to draw strength from than New Society Publishers. Hey, Seal. Hey, buddy. All right. Tucked down off Peterson Road, New Society Publishers just happens to be the leading publisher in North America for books on navigating social change and ways to live more sustainably. They've been around for over 40 years, 30 of those headquartered right here on Gabe. Judith Plant, together with her partner Kip, was the longtime publisher of New Society, and the company has weathered many storms. The Great Recession, the cutthroat competition of international publishing, and the upheaval of the Amazon, of course. Almost going bankrupt and rising again and again, stronger and more resilient. And with their company slogan, Positive Solutions for Troubled Times, what better person to talk with than this amazing woman, Judith Plant. But Judith isn't on island right now. She's been staying with a dear friend on a farm in the foothills of Alberta near Sundre, and then the pandemic hit. But I gave her a call. Cell phone connection was a little bit spotty. We started with a quick recap of the New Society story.
Now, we moved to Gabriola in 1990.
Right.
And we were just beginning to start to publish books. We were just releasing the first one, which I think was Turtle Talk. So my own book, Healing the Wounds, had been published by the New Society Publishers in Philadelphia. You've probably listened to my talk, but
yes, I have.
Yeah. So that's how it began, and then they had the outrageous idea of having a Canadian office, and would we like to be the people running it? Well, that's how it started, really. So we had to leave our off-grid place, but we told ourselves only for 10 years we would give it a shot because we could reach more people.
And through that, of course, in your thinking and you're looking at the world, I mean, a lot of that was looking at the times we were living in and thinking about, how people can get together, and that the strength lies in the grassroots, and how people can forge the path beyond political powers and corporate, manipulations, and build the society that they want to see.
That's right. That's exactly it. And I still carry that around with me, that idea, because once you've been bitten by that bug, it's hard to turn your back on the own, an idea of self in the larger sense of the word, self-empowerment. And yeah, I still believe that we need to create a culture of place that. Yeah. And I think to a certain extent that is happening in bits and pieces, and as our book list grows and develops, you can see it in the list, I think.
Mm-hmm. Are you still on the board with New Society?
Oh, I'm the chairman.
Okay.
The chairperson. Yeah, and so we have a very lively board. That we're actually considering. The board is thinking about expanding it, but we're a really active, engaged board, and you probably know about our employee ownership.
Yes.
Strategy. So we have the staff they elect someone and put that person on the board as well. So it's really quite engaged. Just love being a part of it. It's just keeps me healthy and excited and engaged.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm extremely grateful.
There was often the talk, though, of with you and Kip of just, okay, we're ready to retire, we're ready to step back.
Yeah.
But it it kept drawing you back in, and of course the big thing was the tale of the 2008 crash and Douglas and McIntyre and that association blowing up. Yeah,
we didn't get what we wanted in a way, but we certainly got what we needed in the sense that we still had more stick handling to do with the book publishing business, and I'm still involved in that, though we have a fabulous staff who actually do all the work.
Right.
I get to sit in on editorial decisions, which is still pretty good for me, but really the other people are the guys doing the heavy lifting every single day.
Right, yeah.
We've just launched 10 or 12 audiobooks.
Great.
Yeah, so they're books that we already had in hardcover, in physical form, but now we're starting to do ebooks. It's pretty exciting.
Yes, I would think. Now, and available on kind of all platforms, Audible, and there's a bunch that are yes. Yeah.
Also through our own website, and my little book Culture Gap which I read, is there too. So
right.
I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah. I'm a longtime New Society publisher fan, and one of my seminal books on my bookshelf still is Our Ecological Footprint.
Well, if you were to ask me about books, I would say that's a foundational text for us.
Yeah, and
that and Joanna Macy's work. For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And thinking about these times that we're in now, and also just for your own personal experience, what has been the foundational books, the most influential texts that you can kind of put on your shelf and keep referring back to? What do you think would be the ones that jump out for you now? Like maybe 3 or 4, 5 titles that are.
Oh, I knew you'd ask me this, and And what I did was I looked at our forthcoming catalog, just to see. And I have to say, the books on resiliency, resilient agriculture, for example, or the books on building community, or how to sustain ourselves, how to turn ourselves towards each other and away from patriarchy and away from the things that really aren't in our nature. I believe what's in our nature are each other and love. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from. So there are a lot of books like that on our list. I wouldn't know where to begin. But I'm glad to say that our new list is just so exciting. I'm walking over the snow as we speak here. Because I don't think I think for the last couple hundred years, we've been turned away from each other at least a couple hundred years and become individualized and corporatized and estranged from nature and alienated from each other, and all of that is foreign to this social species, which is humankind.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in our nature to be that way, so we need to reclaim ourselves.
Well, I followed up with Judith in an email and pressed her a little more, and so here are the 5 books that she says pretty much stay on the coffee table all year round. And they are The Year-Round Hoop House, Soil Science, Elegant Simplicity, Clean Money Revolution, and Culture Gap.
But as I sit here talking to you, there's a 60-acre field in front of me, and it's still covered in snow, and it's really quite beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it has been stunningly beautiful, because if a week or so ago I could walk out on the crust of the snow, and I've actually sent you a little piece on this. I could walk out on the crust of the snow, and it just felt like I was walking on sand, because of the way the wind had blown the snow around and swirled it about, and I don't know, it was so truly magical. So there's beauty everywhere.
Oh gosh, yeah.
If you're allowed to stop for a minute and notice, which I think is the gift of this pandemic, really.
I think so. Yeah, it's been really good for us. I mean, we managed to do a little bit of a refugee pullout with our 2 adult daughters from Vancouver who were laid off from their jobs and feeling like a little bit trapped in the apartment they were living in. And so we said, we'll drive over and grab you and get back before, things, because it was so much in flux. That was in early March, mid-March. And so they've been here, and it's been a wonderful opportunity. We've been so fortunate because, I mean, look at where we live.
I know.
In this nation, in this place, in this island. So it is a healing space, right?
I know, but we in the first world need to heal. We need to see our patterns of consumption and all of that. And so staying at home gives us this chance. And I've been wondering, of course, we're all wondering how it'll be later. Will we have learned anything, and so on? And I'm just wondering, how long does it take to change habits?
Mm-hmm.
Because wouldn't it be great? And I actually also thought, what if we discovered that we're actually lazy by nature? What if we discovered that?
Yeah.
That it turns out hard work is killing the planet.
Right, yeah.
And productivity and all these things we think we value, I guess. But are they actually doing us in our environment any good at all?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
These questions come up, and I don't know.
Well, and there was a book years ago that I remember reading, Juliet Shore. It was The Overworked American. And I love that, she, her survey of human history and work, it had to deal with, feudal systems and how many days off that the peasants had. There was always a feast day or this day or that day. And the landlords were always complaining that, our workers, every day is a religious holiday. And you kind of think they were, a lot of the peasant class were maybe pulling the strings a little bit, going, sorry, it's the feast of Saint Augustus. We're gonna have to sit back and take a feast day. And maybe that's it. Maybe
that's it.
We need to relax a little more.
Yeah, and just turn to each other and celebrate this beautiful planet that we live on.
Yeah.
Watch a tulip blossoming and tell me that you don't see God,
Yes. Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Something bigger than ourselves that needs to be, celebrated.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking to you. You probably got some reports, of course, from people here on Gabriola, but the pollen season was a heavy season, and then we've had 3 or 4 weeks of solid sun, and so everything is just bursting forth early this year.
I've heard that, and of course here in Alberta it's the opposite.
Yeah.
It's long, cold spring, as you probably remember. And
yeah,
but I've got a garden started here because I don't know how long I'm going to be here, and it seems like the right thing to do. Shouldn't we all be, as much as possible, putting a few seeds in the ground? We'll see how it goes. I mean, maybe I'll bring them to Gabriola. Who knows?
Yeah, right. Well, we all will look forward to seeing you back on the island when you get here. It'll be great. And our public health officer who's always telling people to be kind, to be calm, and be safe. We're lucky.
We're lucky. We're really lucky. Yeah. In fact, I think the more this goes on, people realize how lucky we are. There are other parts of the world not doing so well at all.
That's right. Well, that's great, Judith. Thank you. I'm glad we could have this little quick catch up.
Thank you so much, Ken, for this opportunity. And you take good care, and I'll see you back on the rock.
All right. Very good, Judith. Thanks so much.
Be well.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't you love Judith and her reflecting on being pulled back into the business she was trying to retire from, that it may not have been what they wanted, but it was what they needed? I love that. Oh, wait a minute. Can you hear that? I don't hear the dog, but I think I can hear... Wow. How about that for coincidence? I can hear up the hill. Here, let me get up and... Well, there you go. All right, don't sue me, Rolling Stones. It's the neighbors playing it up the hill, not me. Oh yeah, and one more thing. There's a YouTube video of Judith presenting the New Society story at an event on Gabriola a few years back. I posted that link and the links to the New Society books we talked about on our podcast webpage. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Ken Gurr. Be kind, be calm, be safe. And also just bloody remember how lucky we are. Okay, bye for now.